there are two beautiful ladies sitting over there. And the first we'll talk about is, girls still there?
Yeah, we see them.
They are there. They're a little short, so I can't see them. Okay, I'm going to talk first about Marie. Lieutenant Commander Mike Eskelsen from Turtle Lake, Pennsylvania, was a U.S. Navy A-4 Skyhawk pilot aboard the USS Ticonderoga. Went on a SAM suppression mission in 1967. His aircraft was struck by an exploding SAM missile, causing him to crash off the coast southeast of Haiphong after pressing home his attack in his heavily damaged plane. And although his remains have yet to be recovered, he is presumed to have been lost at sea. Next to Marie is Jenny. Lieutenant James J.G. Connell from Wilmington, Delaware, and a graduate of the Naval Academy, was also a Navy A-4 pilot, but aboard the Ranger when he was also on a SAM suppression mission, shot down in North Vietnam and taken prisoner in 1966. While in captivity, he served as the main point of exchange of intelligence information with changing groups of POWs, resulting in severe mental and physical abuse and ultimately death at the hands of his captors. His remains were recovered in 1974 and returned home for burial at Fort Rosecrans National Cemetery in San Diego. A little about Jenny. Jenny Connell Robertson met James Connell between his second and third year at the Naval Academy. They were married right after his graduation in 1961. We received orders to NAS Lemoore in 1964. In December of 1965, JJ was deployed on the Ranger. Just 2 weeks before he was scheduled to return, he was shot down. We had a boy and a girl at the time. They were just 2 and 3. And I was 25. Jenny? I think all of us can say how sorry we are for your loss, and we're so grateful to have you here with us tonight. Thank you so much. And thank all of you.
You're watching KESQ, the Desert's news leader. This is News Channel 3 at 11.
Good evening, I'm Karen Devine. John White has the night off. Today, people all over the country are recognizing prisoners of war and those missing in action. The Palm Springs Air Museum hosted a special ceremony honoring the men and women who bravely served. News Channel 3's Lauren Coronado sat down with 2 prisoners of war and shares their story tonight.
Remembered at the inaugural POW and MIA recognition event at the Palm Springs Air Museum. Alongside Thomas is Tom Kirk, a POW for 5.5 years in a North Vietnam prison camp.
I'm shot down, I'm very badly injured, no one saw me get out, my family didn't know if I'm alive or dead, and I failed my country. That was what I felt. And I wanted to die. There's no question, I just wanted to die. Then one day, I stomped my foot on the ground and I says, damn it, I'm here. I can't change it. I can't do a thing about it. Nobody cares. I've got to dig deep and find the strength and the will and determination to hang on to whatever they do it, and someday I'm going home.
And he did in 1973. But that wasn't the case for some, like Jenny Connell's husband, James Connell, who was also a POW during the Vietnam War.
I knew when they shot him down, they released his picture and said, we have this criminal, they called him. And I didn't know until the guys were released that he had died. It makes you realize what you're able to overcome.
We also remember those who are still classified as missing in action.
Lauren Coronado, News Channel 3.
Bob Barnett is here with us this evening, POW Bob Barnett and his family. Colonel Bob Barnett was an Air Force F-105 Thunder Chief pilot with the 44th Tactical Fighter Squadron at Korat Air Force Base in Thailand. When on a combat mission over North Vietnam, 10 October 1967, he was shot down by a SAM missile 15 miles northeast of Haiphong and taken prisoner.
And they fired SAMs at us. And just at about the time I was rolling in, the one went off probably 20 feet behind my airplane and blew into the airplane, caught it on fire. The oil light came on, engine froze, I ejected, and as I went out, my raft that I was sitting on went out and inflated before the parachute. So when I looked up, the raft was there, the parachute wrapped around the risers, and I had a ball, and I was going down like that. And I said, woe me. So it was my day. I fell through a tree, ricocheted off the branches, fell in a bush, and survived the crash. And I was about 10 miles from the coast, thought I'd be picked up, but fickle finger of fate, always there. A Navy pilot got shot down same time I did. Navy helicopter went and picked up the Navy pilot and said, we'll see you tomorrow. So I stayed out overnight, and by that time the Vietnamese knew where I was, or knew I was down. So they started looking for me the next day, and I was wandering around the jungle. They did send a helicopter in to try to pick me up. I'd warned them, I thought I was already going to be captured, but they sent it anyway. And it came over the top of me, and it was hovering, and bunch of firing, bullets going through the trees, hit the helicopter, and mayday, 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 and the helicopter went putting off. So anyway, I ran around for another couple of days, and they caught me with a dog under a bush, and then the fun began. I was kept out there overnight, and interrogated, put in the ropes, beaten, tried to use me as a decoy. I was able to send a false message that stopped the rescue, and they took me into Hanoi. I went into the Hanoi Hilton, into the Navi room, and I spent 6 days in there being interrogated. Then, if you want to hear the next 1,989 days, it's going to take a while, but it lasts a long time, and a lot of things happen. And
I think I read or saw where you said that you found God in captivity. Can you talk a little bit about that?
well, they say there's no atheists in the foxhole. Well, when they're really beating on you, I don't know if I really found God. I just hadn't been talking to him a lot, but I sure found a way to start talking to him then. And for some reason, I just felt there was some connection. I don't know if I was hallucinating or not, but I even heard voices. I think I was. But after that, for some reason, I don't think I was ever really afraid. I just was there with a lot of adrenaline, and I just, whatever's going to happen, happened. But it got me through that part, and somehow I never really got tortured after that. I like to say that's the reason why.
So,
Okay.
thanks. Colonel Brian Seek was an Air Force F-4 Phantom II pilot. He was in the 469th Tactical Fighter Squadron, also at Karat. When on a combat mission over North Vietnam, 5 July 1972, he was shot down by a MiG air-to-air missile and taken prisoner.
I was a prisoner for 9 months, and I'm still a new guy to all these guys. I wasn't a pilot. I was a navigator, trained as a weapons systems officer to operate the stuff in the back seat. And I found out the hard way that, if somebody comes up deep from behind you and nobody sees you, you don't see them, the next thing you know, They get a shot off, heat-seeking missile right up the tailpipe. I was in a great airplane one moment, and I was in a smoking rock the next, tumbling over, flood of debris that accumulates in the bottom of those cockpits that nobody knows until big-time negative G starts, and it all starts flying up all around you. You know, I managed to get out of the airplane. I was burnt up some. The flight suits were fire resistant, not fireproof. And I was proof of that. But, you know, when I got out, I was just hanging down there and looking down at little villages and stuff. And next thing you know, they started shooting at me. And I wanted to wake up from this bad dream, but it just got worse. And I landed in a rice paddy, and there was all this militia around me with guns and whatnot, and you know, for you the war is over, you know, kind of thing. So and then they took me back to Hanoi. I was pretty burnt and broken up some, and so they kind of laid off me initially, but that was to come later. One of the things I want to say is those of you who are familiar with baseball, this is going to transition. I mean, those who are familiar with baseball, you know, there's a guy that the pitcher wins 300 wins, goes to the Hall of Fame. He's called a baseball player. Another guy, few years, gets about 30 wins. He's also called a Major League Baseball player. And Bob and I are both called ex-POWs, but he's the Hall of Famer.
Well, all of you guys are in our Hall of Fame, that's for sure.